Okay, so let's do this. Let's see. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Okay. All right. So today we're on page, let's see, I'm gonna cover to cover read along of the Parinama method. We're page 255 and we're on section Wonder and Awe. So we're in the seventh hub, exploring what the hub represents and what it contains. And in doing that, today we'll discuss Wonder and Awe. So I'm just going to get right into reading it. Let's see. Okay, let's see, and we'll see what comes up. So the curiosity from the sixth hub transitions and expands into wonder and awe in the seventh hub. Our ability to sustain wonder and awe is tied to our capacity to stay present in a moment and to take it in without attempting to categorize it as it ascends beyond definition, words, and images. If only for a few moments we experience that we are part of a greatness and grandness that defies explanation. Rumi wrote, "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment." Yeah, I think one of the things, it's interesting because it's like in the inquiry section, and also when we get to chapter 12 and we're talking about creation, is that there's like an important notion here that is about not knowing, that the curiosity is from the wonder, and the awe is taking curiosity into this level of being really receptive to not knowing, like losing attachment to what you know and being able to become more, just become ultimately receptive to new information. And the thing is with this is that, so in terms of a really like practical explanation of this, it would be that if there are things about your life that are really challenging, if there are things that feel unmanageable, overwhelming, like the idea that you are, like the idea that it's like everything you would need to know to resolve this and kind of create a transcendent reality for oneself, that you already have, like that's something you already know. And so this is about opening to new ways and new information and new knowledge and new revelations. And part of, an important part of this is clearing, clearing context, clearing, the like structured beliefs about like this is just how the world works. This is just how it's done. This is how it is. This is how it's just always going to be. And I think that, one way to even just sort of exercise that, as far as like, or even like explore that, is to think of things that have changed in your life so far in terms of like what you knew to be true, and then having life show you an alternative to that and having it like blow your mind. You know, yeah. Mhm. It's really important. And the importance of this has to do with the tangle of, the Parinama tangle, where it's like the circumstances and situations of early life shaping reflexes, and those reflexes becoming like rationalized with belief systems, like making sense of them, like creating a belief system around that and that forming what we believe to be reality. And then that reality being projected out into the world and then the world responding to accordingly to that. And so one of the functions of like to what extent things are possible beyond what is known to be possible really requires the letting go of this sense of knowing, of certainty, of being like, yeah, well, this is just how it works. And things have to be, like I could have this like magical alternative to my current life, like, or I could have like, so for if somebody's like sad or if somebody's you just for whatever the challenges, whatever the kind of the cross to bear, so to speak, is that there's just this important aspect here, which is that the ability to be receptive in this way of like not knowing, of just this openness, recontextualizing, recreating. Yeah. So perceiving an experience without processing it into information is, for example, found in the ability to look at a sunrise and extend the awe of its initial effect by not feeling the need for naming its colors, pointing out specific areas, or capturing it with a photograph. It's surrender to extraordinary moments, which eventually leads to finding similar delight in the so-called ordinary ones. Yeah, that's a thing. To be inquisitive, to comfortably withstand the tension of not knowing while delaying the impulse of filing an experience away with others that are similar into our existing belief system. So in all the hubs, the method encourages us to listen to ourselves without controlling the narrative. When we ask our bodies what they want to tell us, we must listen for the answer without rushing to fill in the blank with what we'd be comfortable hearing. We betray our bodies by not listening to them and by engaging in things that we sense are unhealthy, too much work, foods that hurt us, exposure to people and experience our gut tries to warn us about, and media consumption that can fill us with self-doubt and self-loathing. This listening and attending is the essential yoke for reunifying our disembodiment and bringing our body-mind back into harmony. Yeah, like one of the things with this that I would point out is that there's a notion of doing things that you need to do that you don't want to do, which is kind of just like is part of being an adult. But it's like how far that extends. It's becoming so accustomed to doing things that we don't want to do that we're like doing things that like really work against like like what feels true to ourselves, to our integrity. Yeah. So our sincere inquiry with wonder and awe allows the hesitant voice to speak, and the voice we hear is our own, one that often wasn't listened to as a child, and now, as an adult, you have the chance to give it care and the space to be heard. As you've developed each of the hubs, you've prepared your body like an instrument for more profound levels of communication and experience. So, like that's the end of this section. And again, this is page 255. I think one of the places that I see this and like in others experience it myself is it's like a notion of surrender. And the thing about surrender is like it's not passive, it's hard. Like the giving up where you just flop and you're just like, fuck it, is really different than the surrender, because the surrender contains this active, um, this action of like resisting, like this kind of this will within ourselves that's really like an adaptation. It's resisting this will that's like, this is how it works, this is how it's done, and it doesn't feel right. But there's like this kind of sense of like, let me, yeah, like the difference between surrender and giving up. Surrender is like incredibly challenging and active. It's a really different quality. So yeah, yeah. So I think that, let's see. Yeah, it's interesting because, I think the thing is, it's like, how much can you say to a topic that is largely about a direct experience? And grace is like, I'd be remiss not to mention the role of grace in this. And grace will come up again. We'll get there. But the wonder and awe. Yeah, it's giving up. It's like surrendering control, which is really uncomfortable, especially if lower hubs don't have any like foundational establishment. So we don't feel safe. If like from an emotional standpoint, feelings just wind up absorbing us so that we just become completely overwhelmed. Sense of self requires external validation. So there isn't any like sense of personal power and sense of autonomy. So like the internal trust, the internal like, and for even fourth hub love, that the love is within. The love is like the love, like the perfect love is the love within yourself that you have for yourself. So it's kind of like to let go without those establishments is, can be very anxiety provoking, overwhelming, and just can exacerbate. Like it can do the exact same thing that of like the thing of the aspect that isn't established. So it's like increasing fear, increasing anxiety, more emotional flooding, more need for control, heighten all of this, heighten more need for validation from other people, more searching for, kind of, yeah. Yeah, and just one clarification, if it feels like it's coming up, is that this notion of this individuation, this is really about, it seems like it's about like separating, but it's actually about being able to come to community, come to relationship, come to connection, whole. Like it's coming with like a cup that's overflowing. It's not coming like that with this thing where it's like, like this covalent bond where you're needing the other electrons. It's kind of, it's like to like create this, sort of molecular entity. It's like it's just there's a wholeness, and in that wholeness, like coming into community, having more to offer people, because perhaps one of the things is like not having, bringing the kind of like corruption and messiness of needing someone else to love me while I'm, like, so if I were to think about like a parental role or a role as a boss or someone as a leader for someone, is that if I'm still looking for validation about my power, then I need the person to subjugate to me, to worship me. I need to feel that I have power over that person. Or I need the person to tell me, like, wow, you're really, or someone to validate and say, wow, or, if I don't have love complete within myself, then the matter of needing other people, like for someone where it's like to offer what, really like lovingly, to like really lovingly be able to hold space that's not emotionally charged, that's really constructive, it's really expansive and caring for someone else. That capacity, having that expands the ability to love, to express love. So it's like that's the emergence, the emergent property is emerging from that. It's like this whole like you complete me and stuff. You look at it's like it's just look where it's like who's teaching us how to be human beings, and all they're unreliable narrators, like to use that term. It's like it's like, well, movies teach us, like the church teaches us, our parents, like, and the thing is, it's like, yes, and it's like taking that as context and then using your own divining rod of integrity to find the deeper truth to those like introductory notions of what these concepts are. So, yeah. Okay. All right. That's it for today. That's really heavy. It's pretty heavy. I guess it's pretty heavy, right? I think we can all agree. Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, it's pretty heavy. And the next section is sense of humor. Tee-hee. There's some laughs. Who knows? I don't know if I'll have some laughs there. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have some laughs maybe. Okay. So that's it for today. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you. So all comments I answer. Thank you for watching. Any interaction with this is fantastic. And I've said, like folks who are reaching out to me who don't have my contact information, you can direct message on the Parinama Method Instagram account. And sometimes they get hidden as requests, so it takes a little bit, but I'll get to them eventually. And that's if if there's something you still want to put as a public comment on YouTube, which many folks apparently don't really want to do. So anyway, thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.